Hello, my dear students. Today, in this very part, this is the last part of your chapter number 2, that is biological classification, part number 4. In this part of biological classification, we'll study about the last two kingdoms, that is, kingdom plant and kingdom animalia. We'll see the diversities of plants and animal kingdoms divided into divisions and phylums respectively on the basis of some similar characteristics, how they have been divided into different divisions in plants and in different phylums in animals. So let's begin with the plant kingdom. These plant kingdoms have some characteristic properties, like they are mostly eukaryotic in nature. The main pigment present is the chlorophyll, and because of the presence of chlorophyll, they can perform photosynthesis. Means their mode of nutrition will be autotrophic. Their wall is made up of cellulose. The photosynthesis, which helps in the synthesis of the food. Reproduction can be sexual as well as asexual. They exhibits the phenomenon of alteration of generation, that is from diploid sporophyte, is a complete body, diploid body, plant body, and haploid gametophyte means the gamete forming bodies will be haploid. So from the diploid to haploid and from haploid to diploid, generations will alter, and this is known as alternation of generation. You will go through this all alternation of generation thoroughly in the coming chapter of the plant kingdom, where you thoroughly will study about all those things. We'll study thoroughly about all those things about alternation of generation, modes of reproduction, sexual and asexual mode of reproduction found in the plants. Now, see, this is a a complete chart that's showing you the how the plant kingdoms have been divided into different divisions on the basis of some characteristics. See, if the plant body is not well differentiated, means that they do not possess true root, stems and leaves, they are kept into thylophyta, and these under these thylophyta will place algae. Now, if their plant body is found to be differentiated into some kind of a root and shoot like structures, they are termed as the bryophytes, which possess some vascular tissues. They do not have vascular tissues, xylem and phloem. And the other side, when we see, there are some plants that possess vascular tissues, means they have xylem and the phloem. Those that do not have xylem and phloems are termed to be the bryophytes, and those that possess the vascular tissues like xylem and phloem, which are the vascular tissues to provide nutrition and the water to the plants. And from the presence of the vascular tissues, they have been now divided into two, that is, plants that do not produce seeds and plants that produce seeds. On the basis of plants that do not produce seeds comes under pteridophytes, and those that produce seeds will divide again into two, that is, in gymnosperms and angiosperms. So total there are 5 divisions, that is thylophyta, bryophyta, pteridophyta and gymnosperms, and these have been divided upon different divisions on the basis of some characteristics that they possess. So the gymnosperms, although they have both of them have seeds, and on the basis of their presence of the seeds, like if they have the seeds without any covering, naked seeds, they are comes under gymnosperms, and the seeds, when the seeds are present inside the fruits or they have a kind of a seed coating, they comes under angiosperms. These gymnosperms, if we divide these two words, so gymno means the naked and the sperms mean seeds. The seeded plants which are naked, the plants which have naked seeds are termed as gymnosperms, and angio and sperms, if you divide these two words, so angios means closed and sperms means seeds. The seeds that are enclosed inside as fruits or have a coat covering on them comes under angiosperm. So this is overall, I have given you a view of the kingdom Plantae, and about this kingdom Plantae we will study in the coming chapter thoroughly about the Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridogymno and angiosperms. Now, let's see animal kingdom. They also have been divided on the basis of some characteristics into invertebrates and vertebrates, and further vertebrates into the different 5 classes they have been divided. And on the basis of non-chordate characteristics, they have been divided into phylum Porifera, phylum Nidaria, and phylum several other phylums. Like on the basis, if we see cellular level organization or body organization, if their body organization is cellular level, means they do not form tissues, and there is no organ and organ systems found, they comes all those organisms will be placed under phylum Porifera. And those that have some kind of tissue level organization, their body have tissue level of organization, they will placed into phylum Cnidaria, which is also termed as coelentrates. So need not to confuse with Cnidaria and coelentrates here. And those that comes to form organs and organ system level, so they will again be divided into acoelomates and coelomates. So under acoelomate we will found those that do not have any body cavities, and these body cavities are responsible for forming the different germ layers, embryonic germ layers, which are responsible for forming different organs in your body. So on the basis of acoelomate means no body cavity, they have been the phylums are platyhelminthes and nematodes. And on the basis of coelomate means presence of body cavity, they are divided into phylum Annelida, Orthopoda, Mollusca and Echinodermata. Vertebrata, Chordata, these are again divided into the 5 classes, means species, means the fishes, the diversities of fishes are placed in class species. On the species, they have been divided into 2 cartilaginous and bony fishes. And this again, the second class is class Amphibia, and the third class is Reptilia, and the fourth will the diversity of birds means they comes under class Aves, and the fifth class of the vertebrates is class Mammalia. So this is all about a overall view of animal kingdom. We will all go through these things thoroughly in the coming chapters of animal and plant kingdom. See here the characteristics of animals. They are mostly heterotrophic. They are actually heterotrophic because they are totally dependent on other organisms for their intake of foods. Some of the characteristics of Animalia are as they are multicellular organisms with variable sizes, have developed organ systems such as skeleton system, circulatory system, respiratory system, bilaterally symmetrical. These means radially symmetrical means their body can be divided from any halves, but bilaterally symmetrical means their body can be divided from only one half. Only one plane will allow them to divide into 2 equal halves. This is called bilateral symmetry. They have well developed locomotory organs. Respiration takes place by gills, book gills, skin, lungs, etc. And membrane bound cell organelles are found with the nucleus bounded by the nuclear membranes. Circulation takes place via blood vessels and heart. Reproduction by the formation of the gametes, that is haploid. Gametes are always haploid, remember these things, either the male or the female. The gametes, the ploidy of gametes is always haploid, means single. The fusion of the gametes gives rise to the new organism that will be diploid in number. Kidneys are the main excretory organs for the excretion. So this is all the major characteristics of the kingdom Animalia. Now we'll discuss about what are viruses. See, this is the properties of viruses, and these viruses are found to be one of the non-cellular organisms on the earth. They do not have cell wall, and they have a protective covering around them, and that protective covering is of protein, and the single unit of that protein is known as capsids, and those protein covering, inside that protein covering, they contains the genetic material DNA or RNA. The presence of the spikes, the presence on the spikes, you have already seen the structure of viruses. If you have seen, the structure of viruses have some kind of spikes on them, then those spikes allows them to attach to the host cell, so that they can undergo the host cells to perform as a living being. They do not grow, these viruses do not grow until and unless they are outside the host body. They need some kind of the host to reproduce their self, so they need a host for that. They are surrounded by the protein code, and that protein code, a singular unit, is known as the protein code is termed as capsid, and that capsid has a cellular made up of a capsomeres. The singular unit of the capsid is capsomeres, which have a nucleic acid core which is comprising of DNA or RNA. They are considered as both living and non-living things, because when they are outside the host body they are non-living, and whenever they get the host body they start performing as a living beings, means they start replicating themselves within the host body. And they produces several infections when they start replicating by utilizing those enzymes and the raw materials in the present in the body. Now, if we talk about viroids, there is a term comes in your book NCRT, viroids. These are the smallest structures which are known to cause the infection, and these are termed as viroids, and they consist of the nucleic acid code without nucleic acid, but they do not have any kind of protein code. Their sizes are very much small in comparison to the viruses, and they may contain only at a time they have only have a RNA or DNA in their structure. This is a typical structure of the bacteriophage. You can see here a bacteriophage, and this is bacteriophage, also termed as the phage or bacterial viruses, as they are the group of viruses that infects bacteria. And they were first discovered by Frederick W. Chouart in Great Britain in 1915, and Felix de Herel in France 1917. So this is the structure of the bacteriophage. You can see here the head region. This is a head region, and this is a collar, not exactly shown here. And these are the tail fibers which allows them to get attached to the host body. And this is the basic plate. So this region below the head is the tail region, and this region is your head region. And the de Herel was the first person who coined the term bacteriophage, means bacteria eating. Bacteria eating. So to describe agents like bactericidal abilities, those that have a bactericidal abilities of viruses are comes under bacteriophage. This is very much sufficient for you to know about bacteriophage at your level. Now, if we talk about the last very topic of your book, chapter number 2 in biological classification, that is lichens. These lichens are actually a curious diversities of organism found on the found on earth, and they actually are the symbiotic association of algae and fungi. The algal partner provides them the food, and they whatever they synthesize, because the algal partner is photosynthetic, so that will perform photosynthesis, and the fungal partner present in the symbiotic association will provide them the protection and shelter. So together they form a symbiotic association, and that symbiotic association comes in the form of lichens. So this is a typical structure of the lichens, which is found growing on the barks of the trees, and these structures are generally found on the regions where the pollution level is very much low. So they have been found in mountainous region more. You cannot find lichens growing on your plains because of the pollution level. Say they are termed as the indicators of pollution as well. So this was all with the chapter number 2, biological classification. So we'll discuss the next chapter very soon. Thank you.